All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to open up by giving all the praises, honor, glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well and preach His truth and truth and sincerity. Shalom to the hopefully elect. And this is the brother Amawan Ayash from the GMS Indianapolis camp, coming back at you with another quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And in today's video, I have a an article dealing with CV, all right, which, you know, the virus that took place a few years ago into 2019, beginning of 2020. And as you see by the headlines, it says new CV variant spreading from Asia now surges across the U.S. What is it and where is it spreading? So we know that, you know, before the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai brings about the end of the kingdom, ultimately judgments come forth, man. All right, let's get the book of Jeremiah. Chapter 28 and verse 7, starting at verse 7. It says, "Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears and in the ears of all the people. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied, both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence." You see, that's what's going on in today's day and age, right? The Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai has risen up men out of the nation of Israel to prophesy against this wicked kingdom known as Babylon the Great, aka America, right? And the Lord has us prophesying about the judgments to come, or the plagues that the Lord is going to bring. And ultimately, the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai has us prophesying about the downfall of this kingdom, all right? But ultimately, we know and understand that we're going to see certain things come to pass and take place in the planet Earth, all right, that's going to lead to the downfall of this kingdom. All right, we're going to be seeing uproars of the people on the earth, right? We're going to be seeing all these natural disasters, food shortages, right? All these disease outbreaks, okay, and many other things, man. You see, because at the end of the day, we understand that we're in a time of judgment, and the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is visiting the earth which He made, as the book of 2nd Esdras the 9th chapter says. You see, so let's go from there to the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking in the red letter. I'll start at verse 6. It says, Shalakia. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So ultimately, these things that are taking place in the planet Earth, they're a sign and a token unto us that what we are in the end, okay, but it's not the end yet. All right, we're in the end days, all right, but the complete end, all right, of this kingdom hasn't taken place yet. All right, the end of this kingdom is going to come when Yahweh Shai returns with the holy angels and destroys this place, right, with the concentrated fire laser beams coming from the chariots, as well as the ICBM nuclear missiles. You see, it says, verse 7, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." You see, so once again, all right, before the end of this kingdom comes, are you going to have people fighting against one another, right? Race riots, you know, shortages of food and water, right? These various different diseases, which that's what we're going into, right? A new CV variant spreading from Asia and hitting the U.S. It says what? In earthquakes in diverse places. So we're going to be seeing earthquakes and various other natural disasters, man. And once again, these are signs and tokens letting us know that we're approaching the end of this wicked kingdom, right? Verse 8, "All these are the beginning of sorrows." You see, and we understand that when we see these things, all right, the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is only going to turn it up, man. You see, hey, the judgments are going to go greater and greater and greater as we approach the end. All right, more people are going to be dying. All right, everything is going to be turned up concerning the judgment of the Lord, man. You see, so as you can see by the headlines, it says new CV variant spreading from Asia now surges across U.S. What is it and where is it spreading? It says the new CV variant is continuing to proliferate around the U.S., although you might not know it by just checking federal variant tracking dashboards. Known as MB181, the Omicron variant has been tracked in states across the country following a large surge in China. And shit, this Omicron variant isn't quote unquote new, so to speak, because I remember reading about this maybe like a year or two ago. You see, so this variant has actually been around for a couple years. Okay, so hey man, who's to say that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai won't pop off multiple diseases at once? You see, I believe he will, because Yahweh Shai said what? Pestilences, man, right? Plural. You see, so that isn't limited to just one disease, right? Hey, I believe the Lord, he's gonna have multiple diseases break out at once, man. It says although right now LP 81 Slack, forgive me. It says LP81, a descendant of JN1, is the nation's dominant strain. It says the Centers for Disease Control is in regular contact with international partners and is aware of reported MB181 cases in China. An agency spokesperson told The Independent there have been too few U.S. sequences reported thus far for the variant to be included in its dashboard. You see, one thing we understand, because when the original demic, first broke out, we're seeing, first and foremost, we're seeing the same pattern. See, because when the original demic first broke out, it came from, according to them, it came from fucking around with bats in China, right? Then it moved to old people, right? Then it came here, man. You see, so we're seeing the same pattern repeat itself, man. First it started over there in China, then it makes its way to America. You see, so hey, at the end of the day, man, whether this is man-made or not, hey, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the credit goes back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because it's the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai who's in control of all this, man. You see, but hey, man, who knows what's going over there in the foreign lands, man? You see, all these man-made viruses and things of that nature. You see, it ain't far-fetched. It says there have been too few U.S. sequences reported thus far for the variant to be included in its dashboard, but in Asia, that's resulted in increased hospitalizations and emergency room visits. So what should Americans know about MB181 and how worrying is its spread? It says here's what's to know. It says what and where is MB181? It says MB181 has been designated a SARS-CoV-2 variant under monitoring with increasing proportions globally, according to the World Health Organization. There are currently 6 tracked by the agency. It says it's spread throughout 22 countries. In the U.S., it has been traced to New York, California, Arizona, Ohio, and Rhode Island, according to records from local health officials at the CDC's airport testing partner, Ginkgo Bioworks. So ultimately, we see that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is moving on this place. You see, because hey, this isn't the only pestilence out there, man. You got tuberculosis that's still knocking motherfuckers off, man. Okay, you got the bird flu that's still out there. You see, and there was this one thing called this one pestilence called Disease X. I don't remember too much information on that one specifically, but hey, man, that's still a pestilence that's out there. So it's a lot of pestilences, right, that's in the planet Earth, man. You see, in which ultimately we understand that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to use them as a form of judgment in these last days, right? Let's grab Ezekiel chapter 14, beginning in verse 19. It says, or if I send a pestilence into that land and pour out my fury upon it in blood to cut off from it man and beast, though Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, as I live, said the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter, they shall but deliver their own souls by their righteousness, you see. And once again, we understand that we're in a time of the Lord's judgment, you see. So a lot of people are getting ready to perish, right, in manifold ways, man. Whether it be through the various different diseases, or whether it be to lack of food and water, whether it be to the natural disasters, so on and so forth, man. All right, the Lord has various different judgments and punishments, all right, set up for the for these people, man. All right, those who do wickedly, man. All right, those who are against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, they're men. All right, those who live contrary to the scriptures. All right, these things are prepared for them. You see? So reading on, it says, while still low in numbers, the WHO noted that there had been a significant rise. Slaki, forgive me. That there had been a significant rise in its prevalence from late March to April. It says, let's see here. It says, what do we know about related infections? It says the public health risk posed by this variant is evaluated as low at the global level, despite a concurrent increase in cases in cases and hospitalizations in some countries where MB181 is widespread. Current data do not indicate that this variant leads to more severe illness than other variants in circulation, the WHO said. It says, but while it may not be particularly severe, but while it may not be particularly severe, may infect people more easily than previous variants. It says there is some evidence that the variant binds more tightly to human cells. It says data indicate, you see. So what? Ultimately, hey, that's how we know that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, is using these pestilences and these diseases to bring judgment upon the people. You see? Let me grab this in the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, the just Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is in the midst thereof, he will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. You see, so ultimately the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is executing judgment on a day-to-day basis. You see, and we're coming into the times where ultimate majority of the planet Earth is going to be taken, all right, by way of great death. You see, and that death is going to come in many forms, man. The pestilences, the famines, the natural disasters. All right, Esau, Edom, so-called white men, all right, coming down with great wrath. All right, these spirits of vengeance that the Lord is getting ready to put upon these beasts, man. You see people killing one another. All right, all that ties into the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You see, and then once again, the judgment of the Lord is being executed on a day-to-day basis. All right, right now, I'm reading off the Newsbreak app. When you download this app, it's always a story, of somebody dying or some form of judgment, man. Every day. You see? So, hey, man, the Lord getting active on people, man. It says, data indicates that MB181 does not lead to more severe illness compared to previous variants, although it appears to have a growth advantage, suggesting it may spread more easily. It says Subhaj Verma, a professor of microbiology and immunology at the University of Nevada, yada, yada, yada. It says, in other words, it is more transmissible. You see, let's see what that word means. Transmissible. All right, let's do this. Dictionary. It says capable of being transmitted. It says catching, communicable, contagious, pestilent, transmittable. So in other words, man, all right, this has a high chance of being spread. You see? So it says, do the CV jump shots work against the MB181? And you see, which, you know, also we understand, we know the true answer to that, right? As the scripture tells us, Job chapter 13 verse 4, it says, but ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. And we see, you know, with the previous demic, all right, the jump shots, man, they didn't really help out nobody. You know, people was caught, you know, having palsies, you know, having strokes, and just out of nowhere, just collapsing, you know, so on and so forth. And you talk about young people too. You see? So at the end of the day, we understand that, you know, Esau's healing methods, man, they do not profit the people. You see? So these people, man, they were fooled into getting the jump shot the first time around. All right, and they were suffering those certain things because they took it. What do you think is going to happen this time around? You see? So you see it right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the article right there. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple more scriptures, and that'll make up the lesson. So this is Jeremiah chapter 14 and beginning of verse 11. It says, then said the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai unto me, pray not for this people for their good. And ultimately that's going to the wicked of our people, right? The 2/3 of the nation of Israel. Because because we understand that a large portion of the Israelites over here in Babylon the Great, aka America, are the Lord has purposed to bring judgment upon them. You see? So we understand, like the scriptures told us, all right, the Lord said not to pray for this people because their judgment is already determined. You know, whether it be by the pestilences or the famines or whatever the case may be, all right, you're going to have a lot of our people consumed in these evils, in these judgments, right, that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is bringing upon the planet Earth in these last days. Verse 12, when they fast, I will not hear their cry, and when they offer burnt offering and an oblation, I will not accept them. And the reason being because the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has sent forth his servants, the prophets, are to give warning unto his people, right? But the majority of the Lord's people are not hearkening to the warning, you see? So therefore, all right, when all hell break loose, man, and these judgments just come crashing on Jake, all right, guess what? Jake is going to want to turn to the Lord. Hey, as Hosea, the 5th chapter, the Heavenly Father Yahweh said, as a matter of fact, let's get it. Then we'll jump back to Jeremiah. Hosea chapter 5 and 15. It says, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. So, hey, that's Jake, man. The moment Jake start going through hell, that's when they want to seek the Lord, man. Hey, read all throughout the book of Judges. You see? Hey, Jake will serve other guys, man. All right, go into captivity. All right, cry to the Lord for deliverance. The Lord would deliver them through a judge, right? And hey, when that judge died, hey, Jake would go back to doing the same fuck shit that got him in captivity in the first place. You see? So this time around, all right, the Lord is only dealing with a remnant. You see? And this time around, the Lord, he's not going to hear the cries of all his people, man. All right, these wicked 2/3, man. All right, the wicked of our nation, man. All right, when the Lord brings these judges, man, they're just going to have to suffer them, man. You see? But hey, once again, the minute Jake start going through hell, here it is, you know, they ignored the warning all this time. I refuse to call upon the name of the Lord and turn back to the Lord in truth and sincerity. All right, but when all hell break loose, then they want to call upon the name of the Lord, man. All right, the Lord, he's going to leave them to be judged, man. You see? So finishing off in Jeremiah 14 and 12, it says, when they fast, I will not hear their cry, and when they offer burnt offering and an oblation, I will not accept them. But I will consume them by the sword and by the famine and by the pestilence. You see? So once again, hey, we're in a time of the Lord's judgment. You see? These diseases are going to be knocking people off the face of the planet Earth, man. All right, these natural disasters are going to be knocking people off the face of the planet Earth, man. All right, these food shortages, right, and lack of water is going to be knocking people off the face of the planet Earth, all right, as well as the sword. Okay, we know that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to turn up that spirit in Esau on the left-hand side, right? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, being a Lord's sword, according to Psalms, the 17th chapter, right? So ultimately, that's also part of the Lord's judgment. So this is Second Ezra chapter 15, and beginning in verse 5, it says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their," and it says, "and their hurtful works are fulfilled." So, and that's why the Lord is judging so heavily, all right, in these times. You see, because wickedness, all right, is at an all-time high, and the Lord, he's fed up with the earth's wickedness. You see, so therefore, judgment is going to proceed forth, man. All right, and the Lord's getting ready to punish the inhabitants of the earth, all right, for their evil, right? Jumping down to verse 49, it says, "I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death." You see? So, hey, man, we in that time where the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, is heavily judging the earth, man. You see? And these new disease strains, these new CV strains, all right, there's plenty of other pestilences out there, man. All right, that the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, is going to use for judgment. You see? So, without further ado, I'm going to close out right there. I pray that this lesson was edifying to the body, and I pray that you got something out of this. And without further ado, I'd like to close out by giving all the praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who will well and preach His truth and truth and sincerity. Shalom to the hopefully elect. And Lord, I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, I say shalom.